Welcome to Conscious Pathways Conversations.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited. We'll talk a little bit more about this later, but I had the privilege of being able to experience a session with Dr. Berceli, which was life-changing. So I want to share that a little bit later on. Initially, when we did this, I had already purchased her book, which has a list of the 7 exercises that are in there. Had I not actually walked through this exercise with you, there were things that were happening that you were able to take me through. And one of the things too, I was coming from a pretty grounded emotional state. The issue that we found in our session was something that had to do with a past surgery that I'd had that was releasing. But if somebody, say, has some sort of like traumatic psychological experience or something like that, I think it's tremendously important for them to work with a practitioner who is specifically trained to look for those specific things, like you were saying, to make sure that there isn't some sort of issue that's coming up with a dissociative state or anything else that may need to be stopped. Because if somebody's just reading this book thinking they can do this themselves, I would highly suggest that they not do that they really work with a practitioner first, and then the practitioner can show them safe ways to do this. Or
You're very welcome. And that's a good point, and I appreciate it, because here again is one of the problems. It is so simple and easy to activate the tremor mechanism, as you saw. Right. But understanding what it's doing and how to assist it to move through the body when I see it hit a certain blockage, which we did together, yes, that's where the skill comes in, see? Mm-hmm. It's your tremor mechanism, and I want you to own it, but I want you to learn how to befriend it. First of all, not be afraid of it or confused by it, which happens to many people. Mm-hmm. They get frightened, oh my God, and then they stop it. There's no need to be afraid. Or they get confused. Why is it doing this? And once they're confused, they don't know how to get out of that state. They can't do it initially by themselves because it's just too close to activating some of their post-trauma symptoms. But here's the key for understanding this. The reason they're going to do this is because that provider is already trained to help them know how to use this tremor mechanism as effectively as possible, even in their first attempt, see? And so the provider is just sort of a guide to inform you about your body and say, here's what I see is going on, here's what you can do to continue. Because if they're safe, and the provider can assess that, they can continue to do the exercises by themselves. But it's many of these providers also, which is good to know, will do a session over the internet. Because all we have to do is see the body, see, and we'll be able to help guide you through the process.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did ours through Zoom, so I can tell you it was very effective. I was able to point the camera down so that he could see, and he walked me through everything beautifully. So, this is definitely something that you don't have to have an in-person session for. You can easily, and again, the benefit is that you are being guided through the things that are happening to you, both physiologically and from, a psychological perspective too, because it is kind of jarring to not know what's going on with your body and knowing